Hello everyone. I am Dr. Aruna Nigam, Professor, Hamdard Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, Delhi. This time I have brought a video of case presentation of obstetrics and gynecology. These cases are important for all the MBBS undergraduate students because time to time during their courses these are given for the evaluation. These are beautifully selected and they have been supported by a live case demonstration so as to give you a feeling of bedside teaching. These cases are also supported by the live images as well as the slides which contains causes, differential diagnosis, investigations and treatments. At the end of the course, it has been supported by multiple choice questions which will be helpful in the theory examination as well as in the postgraduate examination. This will give you an overview of all the cases which are commonly encountered in obstetrics and gynecology practice. This case series will be helpful for all the healthcare professionals as well because the knowledge which has been imparted in this case series is basic for the workup of all these cases. What we have done, we have divided it into two courses and each course comprises of 12 case presentations like PIH, GDM, anemia, postnatal case, antenatal case. Remember that if you want to be thorough and pass the exams with flying colors, you have to go through all the cases. Why you need to go through all the cases? Because if you have been given the PIH case in the exam, your viva can go to anemia also, it can go to simple antenatal case also, or it can go to cardiac disease also. So you need to be thorough for all the cases. The motto of the current video presentation is rewind, revise and visualize. Multiple times you can revise these cases and be thorough with the case presentations. Today, when we all are fighting with the corona pandemic, moreover, because of many privacy issues with the female patients, medico-legal implications, this is my small effort to give you a feeling of clinical touch, and I have tried to touch all the learning domains, that is cognitive, affective and psychomotor domain by this case presentations. I am going to tell you about the general examination of a pregnant female. Why it is important? Because if you are sitting in OPD, you need to know hurried, quick examination of the patient. Whenever you are presenting the exam, in the exams, it is also important. So whenever patient is entering in the OPD, you need to see the gait of the patient and the build of the patient. That is the first point when you are going to observe your patient, right? Why gait is important? Supposing the patient is having a polio or some stiffness of the hip joint. So you will be able to know and then you can ask. Because effect over this area is going to affect her pelvis. And then the vaginal delivery might not be possible in this case. This was the Christian methods of fifth. The another method is a finger width method which has been given by a Notelowitz, in which he said that we can measure this by the finger breadth. One finger breadth is approximately 1.5 to 1.7 centimeter. If you measure, and the concept of this method is very important. What is there? The basal vertical diameter in the flexed head is around 9 centimeter. And if you divide it with a 5, it corresponds to around less than 2 centimeter. So it can correspond to one finger breadth, right?
In the first trimester, current pregnancy of the patient is a spontaneous one, which was confirmed by herself with the help of UPT after 2 months of amenorrhea. She presented to the hospital for the first time at 10 weeks and she has had a total of 8 to 9 visits. The patient gives a history of nausea and vomiting in the first trimester and she has taken folic acid supplementation. She is a known case of hypothyroidism and is currently taking Hyaluron 75 micrograms per day. There is no history of fever with rash, radiation exposure or any other drug intake in the first trimester.
Can you tell me the general examination in this patient?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, in general examination, ma'am, the patient is lying supine, comfortably in the bed. She is alert, conscious, and well oriented to time, place, and person. Ma'am, she is well nourished and adequately built. Her weight was 64 kgs. Her height is 154 centimeters, which makes her BMI to be 26.6 kg per meter square.
So now I'm going to show how we go about doing this calculation. As you have seen that the way I was taking the dietary history, this was noted down in a tabular form. So we noted down the time, what meal she took, and how much she had taken. Now once we have these measures, we can use the table which is provided by the National Institute of Nutrition, giving the calorie content of most of the commonly consumed Indian foods. And using this as a measure, we can calculate the number of calories totally consumed by this individual. We can also get an idea of the proteins and the calcium or iron content.
Just to give you outlet of management of pregnancy with leaking per vagina, there can be two conditions. Number one, patient can present at less than 34 weeks of period of gestation, or patient can present at more than 34 weeks of period of gestation. If she is presenting at less than 34 weeks of period of gestation, we need to continue the pregnancy till 34 weeks or till the signs and symptoms of chorioamnionitis appear. So during this period, we need to give her dexamethasone coverage so as to have a fetal lung maturity. Antibiotic prophylaxis is given to prevent the infection, and that is erythromycin 250 mg QID.
She said that she stopped having fetal movements when she was 8 months completed weeks, and then after that she was delivered at home. IUD baby was delivered at home only, so she does not know why it happened.
Okay, could she tell about any weight?
She was saying the baby was big according to the way
Everybody said
it was big.
Can you tell me what are the causes of irregular enlargement of the uterus, or just enlargement of the uterus? Let's stop in this one.
Differential diagnosis.
Yeah,
of
differential diagnosis of enlargement.
physiological conditions like full bladder pregnancy can mimic fibroid uterus. Otherwise, pyometra, hematometra, ovarian masses, tubo-ovarian masses, focal masses, myohyperplasia, endometrial carcinoma.
You told me hematometra, pyometra you told me, lociometra, right? And incomplete abortions. So what is the treatment now? How will you manage this case?
Ma'am, we would like to give her supports for the pregnancy. Apart from the routine medication like folic acid, we would like to give her on progesterone, micronized.
Don't you want to go for any investigations?
Yes, ma'am, we will do ultrasound for localization of pregnancy, cardiac activity, and also the viability of cardiac activity, viability of pregnancy, and other routine antenatal investigations will also be done.
Okay, suppose if this ultrasound shows that the fetus is present but there is no cardiac activity, what would have done?
So, ma'am, depends at 8 weeks of gestation. We call it as a missed abortion. There is no cardiac activity, but we can counsel the patient and do a scan after 1 week also.
What are clue cells?
Ma'am, clue cell is a epithelial cell around which there is attachment, the surface attachment of the bacteria, which gives as appearance that a single epithelial cell is there, and surrounding which there are multiple bacteria, which gives as appearance of clue cell.
Very good. Any other test can be done in bacterial vaginosis?
Ma'am, gram staining can be done, and on the basis of that, there is a Nugent score. If it is more than equal to 7, we confirm the diagnosis of bacterial vaginosis.
Okay. Any other thing?
QH, a whiff test can be done. Like if we on a slide we take the discharge and we put 10% of the QH on it, there is a mean like order. So that is called as whiff test positive. So that is a characteristic of bacterial vaginosis.
So what characteristic findings will be there in the ultrasound?
Ma'am, the uterine sac will not be having any G-sac, and the G-sac will be lying outside the uterus. Plus, on the Doppler there is a ring of fire sign, which confirms our
Finding
finding
that
of
it is ectopic.
ectopic
Okay.
pregnancy.
So your patient is hemodynamically stable. So how will you like to treat your patient?
Ma'am, in this case, as the patient is hemodynamically stable, we'll go for the medical management.
Can you tell me the criteria for medical management?
Ma'am, in the medical management is done when the G-sac is less than 4 centimeter in the presence of cardiac activity and less than 3.5 centimeter in the absence of cardiac activity, and then the LCG values are less than 5,000. Patient should be hemodynamically stable, and cardiac activity should be absent.
Why there occurs a Bartholin cyst?
Ma'am, it is basically because of the blockage of Bartholin duct, which drains the Bartholin gland. After the blockage, there is accumulation of the contents, and it leads to swelling. If there is infection, then it leads to Bartholin abscess.
What is the most common cause organism causing the blockage of this?
E. coli.
E. coli.
It is polymicrobial. E. coli, Staph aureus.
What drug is being given for gonorrhea?
Ma'am, doxycycline.
Yes.
Doxycycline 100 mg twice daily for a day of 48 days.
Any injectable can be given single shot?
Yes, ma'am. Ceftriaxone 250 mg IRA.
So whenever you have to elicit scar, you have to talk to patient so that she will not put her all concentration on the scar, and then I will insinuate our fingers just behind the pubic symphysis so as to elicit the scar tenderness over the uterine scar. That is very important point. So I'll ask patient, तुम रहती कहाँ हो?
जैतपुर बदरपुर में.
Can you tell me what is the latest classification of the hypertensive disorder in pregnancy?
Ma'am, in latest classification, it is divided as chronic hypertension, which is essential or secondary. Then it is other category is white coat hypertension, masked hypertension, transient gestational hypertension, and then preeclampsia.
What is that all score called as?
Bishop's score.
Bishop score, you will find out. Right, you have seen the Bishop score. Now what? How will you induce your patient?
Ma'am will try to give a PGE2 gels.
Okay.
Ma'am, every 6 hourly.
Okay.
And ma'am,
how many maximum doses?
3.
3. Okay.
Ma'am, if then also she doesn't go into spontaneous labor, ma'am, then we'll start her on injection Synto, starting from 2 units.
Okay.
At the rate of 15 drops per minute, then we'll gradually increase the dose.
Okay.
Until
Again, she has not gone into labor. Then what?
Ma'am, then we'll do artificial rupture of membranes.
If os is closed, how will you do a artificial rupture of membranes? So you won't be able to do. So do you know any other method of induction of labor beside this PGE2 gel?
Then what we do, we will examine the seam for the lower limbs also. There is no sandal cap. Creases are normal. Number of toes is also normal. There is no CTEB or any other abnormality in the foot.
Okay, start your examination.
Ma'am, in general examination, her hair texture is fine. She is well hydrated. Ma'am, there is no pallor in the eyes. There's a little redness around her cheeks on the upper side, ma'am, but that is present from the trimester 1. Ma'am, I have already checked the tongue. There is no signs of anemia. There is no pallor. And ma'am, in the nails also, and ma'am, the palm creases, ma'am, she doesn't have pallor. We will inspect the abdomen. We can clearly see that there is linea alba, which is linea nigra, which is extending from the xiphisternum till the pubic symphysis, and there is stria gravidarum, which we can see lightly over the right side. We don't see any fetal movement over inspection or any other mass. Inguinal sites are free, and so we will proceed further.
Okay, can you see these things?
Yes, ma'am. These are the engorged veins.
This is an edema which has made the
Abdomen
stria gravidarum more prominent, right? Yeah.
I'd like to know about the babies, if there is any congenital defect in the baby.
Congenital anomaly in the baby and fetal IUGR
Yes,
also
ma'am.
simultaneously. In your case, there was no fetal IUGR also, and the condition of the placenta.
Yes,
also.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What else investigation? You have ruled out GDM.
Yes,
you have
ma'am.
ruled out congenital anomalies. Now you want to rule out
Arthritis.
the blood group you got done.
Yes, ma'am.
What else? Fetal infection. For fetal infection, which test you will like to do?
Ma'am, I'd like to rule out
Torch test.
torch infection. Yes, ma'am.
Torch infections you will.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that test? Do you
Gene
know?
expert.
Gene expert. Can you tell me the full form, other name for this?
CBNAT, that is cartridge based nucleic acid amplification testing.
Very good. So it gives results in one day. It gives report. Is the culture positivity of tuberculosis is good for genital tuberculosis?
Not very.
No, it is only 2%, right? What do you want to see in histopathological examination, the other sample which you send to pathologist?
Ma'am, we see whether the cycle is ovulatory or not. So we'll see the secretory phases or ovulatory changes or secretory changes.
And what other thing you order whenever you are suspecting a tuberculosis?
This thing.
ZN staining.
ZN staining.
Okay, so you can find a caseating granuloma if it is a tuberculosis in many of the cases, right? Now tell me, what is your case?
Ma'am, a 60-year-old came to the gynae OPD with complaints of postmenopausal bleeding for 6 months. She's menopause for the last 4 years. She's para 4 and life 4, the last delivery 20 years back. The vitals are stable, on per abdomen soft and no guarding rigidity and tenderness. On per speculum examination, there is a 3 centimeter to 3 centimeter cauliflower-like friable growth, which is seen involving both the lips of the cervix, which bleeds on touch, and the uterus is normal, and there is upper 1/3 of the vaginal involvement. The rectal mucosa is free, and there is bilateral parameter thickening and nodular up to the lateral pelvic wall.
Very good. So what is your provisional diagnosis?
So ma'am, so as the patient is elderly, 60 years, she's presenting with postmenopausal bleeding, so likely a malignancy, and there is a cauliflower-like friable growth on lips. So this is likely a CA malignancy, carcinoma cervix.
Okay. So what is more common in CA cervix, postmenopausal bleeding or a postcoital bleeding?
Ma'am, postcoital bleeding is more specific of CA cervix.
Very good. And postmenopausal bleeding is more common in
Endometrial cancers.
endometrial carcinoma. Very good.